looking at some Renaissance primary sources, specifically their paintings. But before that, we're going to watch this video, and we're going to connect it very creatively to what we're going to be talking about.
Wait, do you want us taking notes on this?
No, you should be fine. This is just ideas that you will be learning through reading your packet. We're just going to go over them a little bit more. All right, so can you hit the lights?
Oh my god.
All right, this is pretty enjoyable.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present to you the evolution of hip-hop dance.
I crack up. I've seen this video like 5 times already, and I still crack up at the twerking part.
When he just walks away.
Yeah. All right. So,
it's funny.
How does this video connect to the Renaissance? How does this video connect to primary sources, right? So when we look at this video, we see a lot of culture, right? We see the evolution of dance moves from like the 80s up until now, right? In a funny, entertaining sort of way. But then that's the same thing in the Renaissance, right? We see their paintings represent the way that they thought of the world, the way they thought of themselves and humanity, and that projects onto our learning now. In the future someday, when YouTube is really obscure and nobody knows what it is, they might find this video and be like, whoa, these are some crazy dance moves, really stupid dance moves from way back when. And that can be a primary source for them to learn about our culture. Same thing with the Renaissance paintings that we're going to look at today. We look at those and we see their views and their way of thinking, and we can learn from that. So primary sources, why do they matter? First, let's go over some themes of the Renaissance that we have been reading about in our article. Okay, humanism. All right, it emphasizes understanding human nature and portraying that. Okay. Emphasizing new areas of study like the liberal arts and the humanities. We also see secularism, all right? And secularism doesn't mean anti-religious, okay? It just means otherworldly. So there's the religious world and there's the secular view of the world, all right? And we see this a lot in art in the Renaissance. It doesn't have to be religious anymore. It can be other parts of life. We see individualism, so more focus on the individual as the focus of art. They stand out a little bit more in Renaissance art, as we'll see in an example really shortly. Rationalism, emphasis on logic and proof and science. We see this a lot, and if you any of those who are doing Da Vinci's Notebook, we see that a lot in his work. Okay, he wants to know more about the womb in which babies grow. He wants to know more about the human heart or technological inventions. Okay, and also virtue, being virtuous, trying to strive to be better, to be the best that you can be. This is kind of embodied more in the Renaissance man, what's termed as the Renaissance man, and these people are like Michelangelo or Da Vinci. They strive to push beyond their boundaries, to discover more, and to create different ways of thinking. So remember those themes as we go through the primary sources, okay? Because we want to extract these themes from the primary sources to understand the Renaissance better. So this is an example of how art changed from the medieval time to the Renaissance. Okay, the medieval. What do you guys see in the medieval art there?
Really flat compared to the Renaissance.
Yeah, very
There's a lot
flat.
of depth.
Yep, there's a lot of depth in this picture. You know, there's the people in the foreground, the people kind of in the background. Shows a variety of perspectives. Right, yeah. That doesn't really show the human form as much as the Renaissance painting does. It's kind of covered by that cloak, right? What else? Anything else?
There's mainly men in the medieval picture. In the Renaissance, there's like a mixture of men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good eye. I can't really see these people over here that well, but these guys that are sitting more towards the middle are definitely men. Yeah, there's a couple women in here. Good. So it's different. It's it branches out. You know, there's more depth and perception and color. There's so much more color in this painting than in that one. There's like red, blues, and yellows in that one. Primary colors. There's a lot of different colors in this one here. Good. All right, so primary sources. Does anybody have an example of what a primary source is? You guys learned about primary sources in your other history classes? All right. Yeah, I didn't know what primary sources were until I had a history class in college. But they're extremely important. Primary sources are things such as letters or paintings or photographs. They're things that happen that record history as it's happening. Okay, so things like textbooks or articles online, those are secondary sources. Those are things that talk about history and what happened in history. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? So primaries happen first. Like, think of primary first. They happen first while it's happening. Okay. So since we are historians, right? We're in history class. We are historians. We need to view. We need to take a look on different things in history through a historical lens. And a way we can do this is by looking at primary sources. We can practice this skill. So some questions that help us better understand this primary source and extract greater meaning and understanding are these questions. And sometimes we look at a painting or photograph or a letter and we just kind of read over it. We don't understand its meaning. We don't dig deeper a little bit. And that's the importance of doing this. That's how you look at it through a historical lens. So some questions are, what kind of primary source is this? Is it a painting? Is it a photograph? It's very basic, right? Just helps you address that. What can you learn from the form of the source? A lot of people have been struggling over this one. It's basically asking, what can you learn from the fact that it's a painting? What can you learn from the fact that it's a photograph? Kind of got to dig into, why is it a painting? Why is it a photograph? Why is it a letter? Why is it not in the form of a sculpture, right? So those are the questions that what you want to think of when you look at that question. What is the purpose of the source, or what was the author's message? This is you just kind of have to look at it and talk about what's going on. So if you look at a painting, sometimes there's a story in there. Describe the story. That's the message, okay? Sometimes the message might be a little bit more obscure. Sometimes it's really obvious, okay? So it takes a little bit of time to practice that more. How does the author try to get the message across? Is it by how people are positioned in the painting, or is it a persuasive letter, right? What do you know about the author, and why does it matter? So let's say we have a letter written by Abraham Lincoln, okay? Why does it matter that we know it's written by Abraham Lincoln? Anyone have any ideas? It's a hard question, I understand. It matters that we know it's written by Abraham Lincoln because it gives context to the letter, right? It gives it more importance, it gives it significance. Do you have a question?
No.
No, you're good? Okay. So if we know that this letter is written by Abraham Lincoln, then it signifies to us that it's important. It was written by one of our presidents. It probably says a lot about him as the author of the letter. And the last question, who do you think is supposed to be the audience? This is important too because sometimes in a letter it's just meant for one person. If I'm writing a letter to Alana, then she's the audience. It's meant for her. It's not meant for other eyes, right? But if we're making a painting, usually that's meant for a large audience. It's meant for public viewing. Okay? So we're going to practice this together. I would do this by myself first, just to show you my ways of thinking, but we kind of have to get moving to reach some presentations. So we're going to skip ahead and we're going to do this one together. So you already saw this painting previously, just very brief. So let's do this as a class. Just pop up if you think you have an idea or know the answer. What kind of primary source is this? Painting. Very basic. Good. What can you learn from the form of the source? What can you learn from the fact that it's a painting?
There were artists.
Okay, it's done by a painter. Good.
How they dressed.
Sure. Yep. The question is more about why is it a painting? Why is it not a sculpture? Go ahead, Distant.
Oh, wait. Oh, never mind.
Sure?
Yeah, never mind.
Okay, more?
It's like showing like a whole scene rather than one specific thing. They want to be able to show like a large, like several people and different things happening.
Yeah, very good. It'd be really hard to write in a letter everything that's going on in this picture. There's so much going on that it's easier to just portray that all as one. Okay? What else? Anything else? Anything we're missing? All right. What is the purpose of the source, or what was the author's message? What's happening in this picture? What's going on? You're making music. Good. What's going on with the guy that has his back turned to you? What is he doing? He's conducting them. Good. He's helping them learn. Nice. How does the author try to get the message across? So how does he show that they're learning?
They're all paying attention.
They look like they're learning.
They're like,
They're interested. They're leaning in, right? They're leaning into one part of the table where he's showing the music, right? He's got the leader or the conductor with that baton showing them how to play, right? And he's got an instrument in his hand. Maybe he's demonstrating how to play it to them. All right. What do we know about the author? This one I had to do a little bit of research on it. His name was Gerard von Horst, and he created this painting for a family. All right, it was more of a gift. All right, and it's important to know that because the purpose of it is more out of enjoyment. It was used as a gift, so the people who received it as a gift can enjoy it. They can hang it on their walls and enjoy it. Sometimes primary sources are used to persuade or make an impression or send a really strong message. Okay, this one is not so much the case. Who do you think is supposed to be the audience? Musicians, everyone. Good. Yep, it's a painting that's meant to be hung, right, on a wall so more people can see it. And we talked about a few themes, 5 themes we hit on. What Renaissance theme or themes is portrayed in this painting? Go ahead, Sam.
The importance of music.
Okay. Do you think about the themes though that we hit on? We had humanism, secularism, individualism, humanism.
And individualism.
Good. Yeah, there's a lot of themes that show up in here. So humanism, right? The humans have a natural tendency to want to learn, so that shows them wanting to participate in this. And then we also see individualism, right? Because you can move from figure to figure and see them as an individual because they have different clothing on, they might have a different expression on their face, they have a different position with their body. All right, what's another one that we could see in this out of the ones that we talked about? Josh, do you have one? Secularism, right? It doesn't have a really strong religious message to it or any religious message to it. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to do this in groups on your own.